breaking. Trump is hiding FBI operations in the Epstein files, or at least according to a former CIA agent. I'll go into that in a moment. I don't want to really go into the sources and stuff. I would just put this out here and break it down to you and give you 3 reasons why this is breaking down. But then I got some bombshells, mega bombshells to share with you. This is a warning. There's going to be a lot of trigger information in here for those of you who have been sexually assaulted. So please, let me give you a heads up about some of the stuff I'm about to tell you. So first of all, there's a former CIA operative, and listen to me here, that's the first thing, CIA operative who says that the largest department, which by the way, largest department in FBI is counterintelligence, and that much of the counterintelligence is happening is all about spying on other spies. Makes sense, right? People who are trying to spy on the nation, FBI is trying to counter spy on them, find them, shut them down, arrest them, kick them out, whatever, right? This has been a history for a very long time of doing this, like at least since the 1950s. Long time. Well, turns out a lot of the sexual, sex trafficking, the money laundering, the guns, and the, other stuff they've had, like, artwork and so on, all of that is directly tied into this and the money and the Epstein files. And the FBI not only has operations, but operatives within that area who have been redacted as well. And my point is like, okay, you could keep their names covered up like you do the victims, but everybody else you need to put out there. But the problem is, it's so commingled with everything. So let me go to number 2 and give you some scenarios. So if you have a situation where you're moving money around and you're a spy and the FBI knows it, and mixed in with that spy, you're co-partnered with human traffickers, either directly or indirectly. How do you indirectly? Well, you both might be using the same planes. You might be on the same planes. You might know each other, but may not know each other socially, but may not have business to do with each other, or may both have business to do with each other and know each other socially. These are part of the operations that have been seen by counterintelligence, FBI, and they're watching everything develop, and it's getting mighty interesting. The other thing that's happening that you're seeing in this development is a relationship that is taking place between spies that are spying on us. Epstein was Mossad. He was tied into Mossad. So the whole idea is that he's doing spying, and he's doing this stuff to this women, and he knows he's untouchable, unless they're coming in this jail to kill him and claim it was suicide, and they're coming after him. So you got counterintelligence involved. That's number 1. Number 2, you got the interrelationship with counterintelligence operatives and operations with all these other industries of guns, drugs, human sex trafficking, and money. And then you have the third thing, which is very interesting. Then I'm going to start dropping mega bombs. Prepare yourself, get your kids out the room, because I want to give some space before I start talking about this. The third thing is you got a serious relationship of Trump in the middle of all of this, because he's a megaton idiot, and here he is pushing, his business and works through everything, and it ties into, again, counterintelligence, intelligence, operatives, and options. Trump is a billionaire. But since he was running hundreds of millions, he got bailed out by all of his money through Saudis. And the Saudis came in, and Saudis are spying on us. It's not just, here's the thing I don't like. There's been this Jew thing. I'm about to go there. There's this Jew thing. I'll just call it out. There's this Jew thing. And here's the Jew thing. There's been this Jew-hating anti-Semitism shit, but then there's the Arab hating on them anti-Arab hating shit. And what I'm saying is I'm calling this shit out as it is. The Jew hating is, oh, Israel is spying on us. They've been spying on us for 75 years. Yes, they have. But the Saudis haven't. But the Arabs haven't. Here's what I'm trying to tell everybody. This is my opinion on this spy shit. Every one of them motherfuckers is spying on us. They all spying. All them bitches is spying on us. It's a question of what America wants to do about the spies that are spying on America. Ain't a country outside this nation that ain't spying on us. Canada's spying on us. England's spying on us. Australia's spying on us. Everybody's spying on us. And we spying on them. Everybody's spying on everybody. Everybody voyeurism. Everybody doing everybody. So what y'all tripping out about? Here's my thing. Depends on what you want to do with it. For instance, back in the day, they caught this Greek spy from Greece who was spying on America. Did they jail him? Did they put him in jail? Did they put him to death? No. They just sent his spying ass, Greek ass, back to Greece. They said, you spying, get out. In the meanwhile, we probably had 145 spies in Greece. Everybody fucking everybody, y'all. Everybody fucking everybody. So now that we know that, let me establish that before I go to the horrific stuff. Now that we know that, okay, so now that we know that, let me establish that. It's not the Jews. I'm tired of hearing about the Jews. The Jews are spying on us. Motherfucker, everybody's spying on America. Stop acting like, oh yeah, it's just the Jews. No, motherfucker, please. Why don't the Jews get caught? Everybody is, the Arabs, the Jews, the Gentiles, the aliens. I mean, come on. Here's what I'm trying to get y'all to understand. Since everybody's spying on us, and counterintelligence has to deal with everybody spying on us. Then they have to find out, oh, well, what does our government, the State Department, the president, what is the policy, what is the protocol, what do they want to do about that? Sometimes they do nothing. Sometimes they do something, like arrest them, put them in jail. Sometimes they do, they send them back to their country. I'm going somewhere with this, follow me. Sometimes they literally execute them. They're not playing, right? But what I'm saying to you, and many times they send them back to their country in exchange for the spies we do on everybody else. Because we spying on everybody else too. Everybody looking at everybody. Now, I want you to really get this, because there's this thinking here that everybody has, is that, well, the Jews are spying on us. Israel, Mossad is spying on us. Yes, they are. And they're trying to get, for instance, government technology, government secrets, that type of shit. And, well, why don't you get them all? Why don't you get the others? You know, and here's what I want you to understand. This is the connection back to the Epstein files. All of this interacting that I just told you is all up in the files. Everybody, agents is exposed, both here, counterintelligence, FBI, CIA, Mossad, you name it, French intelligence, everybody, y'all, everybody. So it's in a openness of the intelligence community that if these things get uncovered. And here's my thoughts on that. Fuck it. We don't care about that as much as we do who are the sex traffickers, who's financing them, who's lawyering up, who's giving them the legal support, who's giving them the personal assistant support, the luxury assistant support, who are the fixers in the game. Those are the motherfuckers we need exposed. And here's why that is. I've given 10 minutes of this before I get into really horrific stuff. What they've exposed right now, and this is why you hear, well, there's a million files. Well, no, there's only a few files. Earlier this year there were no files. The reason you're hearing all this shit is not only to cover up intelligence operations here and abroad, so both FBI and CIA, because everybody's spying on us and we spying back on them. It's not only to cover up the operations and the operatives in that. They are worried about the revealing of the other operators that aren't in the intelligence industry moving around. Because some of them are both intelligence and fixers. Some of them are both lawyers and CIA, FBI operatives or overseas intelligence operatives. Some of them are in the personal assistance, luxury assistance, the legal area, the financing area. It so overlaps with each other. But if we just had our spotlight on at least the ones we know who are doing the hardcore gangster shit with these little boys and girls being traded around, we could identify them. But the truth about this that most people don't know, it's a series of fucked up grays. So there's allegations, warning, trigger, get your kids out the room. There's allegations that Donald Trump not only raped a 14-year-old girl, and that's allegations, just allegations, but it's by the girl, and that she got pregnant, had a baby, and the baby was unalived right in front of Donald Trump in Lake Michigan. Here, I don't know if it was in Chicago, or maybe over in wherever, but yeah. And what I want you to understand is there's so much shit out there. We don't know what's true and what's not, but we do know this. Because again, these could be allegations, they could be a total lie. I certainly hope it's a lie, but think you would want to too, because you don't want the thought that a child got raped or that a baby got killed. But I will say this. This is just the tip of the iceberg of what's about to get leaked out. See, what they're doing is they're mentally fucking with you. There's no files. There's a million files. There's a bunch of files. There's some files. And they're trying to redact everything instead of just letting the floodgates open. But people already have these files. You know, they say there was a million files. Really, where'd that extra million come from all of a sudden? Is it designed to confuse you? Absolutely. What do? First of all, we got Garcia, who's head of the oversight committee, who's been sifted out what's real, what's not. That's where you get stuff. Never go to a third party site, because they could be, hacking, wormholing, getting your stuff. But the other thing is you don't want to fall for the misdirection, because it could be a bunch of phony crap. And you go down that, that Alice in the Wonderland rabbit hole, you could lose your mind. The other thing I want you to understand is that what I've just told you, these three things, which are very powerful, is that not only are they covering up a community that's interlaced with each other and the fixers and the people and the yada yada, but I want you to think about this long term. Give this some serious thought. Whatever does come out, there's going to be some stuff strong enough to take on Donald Trump and take him down and get out in the third, inside of a month. It's going to harm the Republican Party even more because they're holding back, and we're not going to accept this. This is like the Kennedy files, but you can't hold that back these days. This ain't the 60s. You can't hold this stuff back. You got to put it out there. The other thing I want you to understand is that as this information keeps coming out, it does nothing but slowly drag and bleed Trump and bleed the Republican Party, which we're happy for. Yay! Will there ever be a case where Donald Trump will go to jail? The case I see, the scenario I see, is him getting dragged out of office first and then him getting targeted. Because in those files is something he's done wrong, not just in general, but in New York. And in the state of New York, they're coming for that ass. Here's the other thing to understand. Despite what them trying to do protect intelligence agencies, FBI, and protect the CIA, and protect these other agencies and counter operations and operatives, there's going to be a open conversation about who the operatives and operations and FBI, who they were looking at and where. FBI's got a lot to explain. They haven't gotten the fire. And Cash Patel ain't ready for that smoke. He's on his way out. What I want you to understand is the bigger picture. Bigger than FBI. Bigger than CIA. Bigger than billionaires, and even bigger than Trump. These files point out a world that is very clearly not black or white, but a series of fucked up grays. And they're commingled with the most horrible people in the world. Not only killers, not only people who will gladly sell their souls in any way, but people who will gladly sell out our nation and sell out any nation. People who gladly go after the money. Now, I'm a capitalist, but you've got to have some character with capitalism. And these people have no character whatsoever. These are people who know that they basically can mix in messing with blue boys and girls because they're intertwined with our international purpose as an intelligence, as a country with the largest intelligence agencies in the world. What we have to begin to look at and focus in on is not just Trump and Epstein covering up FBI counterintelligence and operations, but what we have to begin to look at is, one, who's going to leak the information that's going to get Trump out this door? Two, how do we take on, what happens to Trump after that, and if he's out in the cold and done? Three, who's going down in the DOJ? Because Pam Bondi's going down, and she'll gladly go down because she's going to get a bag when she gets out of this office. Guaranteed, this woman's going to be worth $100 million in the coming years, even if she goes to jail. In fact, she'll have a quicker path to that $100 million if she goes to jail, as long as she closes her mouth and don't tell the secrets. It's a game, y'all. It's a fucked up one. I ain't gonna lie. But the reality is, it's a game, and the intelligence community is involved, and Trump is covering for the FBI, Trump is covering for the CIA, Trump is covering not only for Trump, but he's covering for the Trump family involved in this. This family is involved in the laundering. This family is involved in the trafficking of the boys and girls. And this family is involved in a way on an international level that people of all backgrounds, even people we know, see, and thought that we trust, will actually be involved in. Epstein files is much bigger than just little boys and girls. Epstein files is about laundering, money, drugs, guns, exotic paintings, exotic animals, babies, kidneys. It's about commodities, or people who should be called commodities, being serviced across the world and being done in a way that many of us will be sickened to know. And they're using that in the intelligence community to finance the United States of America and to use to their advantage against the United States of America if they're against our allies. And, I get it. I get it. I get the fact that there are things that we don't want to harm our country with the intelligence. But we got to leak this out. Remember when the Panama Papers came out? Look that up. There are things that need to come out, because if we're talking about the harming of children, that should never be a commodity or even seen as one. But the reality is there are people who have scruples who don't care if children are involved for money reasons, for national secrecy, national intelligence, okay, national security. And there are people who don't tell for money, lots of money, and people who don't tell because of the legal implications, like lawyers who can't say nothing, but they know the most horrible things. These are all designed behind our backs. What we're going to find out, because people are going to leak it, is what's going on that'll get Trump. But don't be surprised, you'll see a little more other than celebrities and billionaires and Trump. You're going to see the inner workings of the United States of America. Watch my next video. I'm going to give you some updates.